What's up, Not Move podcast? This is Chief 316. Got JB with me. JB, what's
What's
up, man?
up? What's going on, my guy? What's going on?
Well,
Shout
we
out
got to
Not Move Podcast.
shout out Not Moved. Chiefs recap week one, Chiefs Chargers. We got to break this. We got to break this down, bub.
Yeah.
So,
So, you know, I mean, dude, this game right here, man, it just wasn't any opener, really. I mean, we were out in Brazil. It was prime time. Mahomes, Herbert. Stadium was buzzing with energy. I mean, you could definitely tell that the NFL went through and picked fans out and said, "Hey, wear this, flag this
I mean,
around."
don't get me wrong. Some of those throwback jerseys, man.
Oh yeah,
Those
yeah,
things were, I mean, there were some clean throwback jerseys. I'm like, okay, cool. This is definitely international. I can tell. I
yeah.
mean, the NFL
I
is going to
mean,
do some of their stuff. So,
right. And like I said, man, before in the last podcast and elsewhere on other platforms, like the NFL, they're not gonna. If okay, so last year they went and obviously the grounds were just trash, right? If the NFL is going back, right, they're not gonna allow those grounds to be trash again,
I
right?
don't think
And
so. No.
so
And
no,
they
and they
said that they
didn't. They
revamped it.
actually, yeah, they did. The NFL put money out there, just like I knew they were. If they're gonna keep on putting a team out there playing,
Mhm.
they're gonna put money into that stadium. They're gonna help out, and that's exactly what they did because they can't. Because look at how much discretion, fire they would have been underneath if one of
Yeah.
these guys would have got hurt in this game, and the NFL knew that
Well,
the playing field was trash and still put their players out there.
well, that's the same scrutiny they got for last year, letting Jordan Love get hurt on the same field.
Right.
So this year, I remember them saying on the actual broadcast on YouTube, by the way, which Kay Adams still has got it. So I honestly, I wish she was on broadcast more. I think she's a great analyst, especially for pre and post game shows. Having said that, back to the field. They did bring a whole crew out there to restitch and revamp that field. I do know that field has not been replaced in total in 12 years. So if they could give it a facelift, which they did, okay. I just look at it this way. Last night, or yesterday, when we did our pregame episode, I looked at it as I want both teams to come out of this game with minimal injuries, and
Right.
I'm okay with regardless of the outcome. And we didn't get that. So,
Yeah, I know. You know, it was that was a big downside. I mean, hopefully everything, with Worthy comes out and checks out all right. I know they said it was just a dislocation of the shoulder, but I mean, it looked very similar to a play last year for another wide receiver.
yeah, and I will say this: as of right now, as soon as the team plane lands back on the ground in KC from Brazil, Xavier Worthy is headed over to KU Med for an MRI. So TBD on that. We can possibly do at the next recap show. We'll be able to know more.
Yeah.
If we need to, we can make a quick clip and kind of take care of it. But for right now, it was a dislocation. They want to make sure they get into KU Med to make sure that no other extensive damage was done or if he needs to miss
Rightfully
any
so.
time.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
um,
with last night though, I mean, Mahomes, he had some flashes, 258 yards, a really beautiful touchdown to Travis Kelce for 37 yards. That reminded me of the old days right there, man.
oh
The
yeah.
offense kind of never really found a rhythm though, like our third down conversions in the first half, there was none. It was non-existent. It was just, it really showed, how much of a factor, just having Worthy back there would have been, not having Royals, we don't really know anything about him too much yet. We haven't really got to see him, but, and with Rice, that with those three guys out, Rice, Royals, and Worthy, that dude, we went into the
Yeah.
season literally minutes before then with one of the best wide receiving corps and healthy and what do you call it? Filled wide receiver room, a full wide receiver room, to a depleted wide receiver room within minutes. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I'm still comfortable with Juju and Hollywood. You know, I hope that he can work on them hands a little bit more and the timing with Mahomes. You know, but like I said, I said this today in a live. This is basically preseason game number 4, right? We can't really go ahead and look too much into this because in the same aspect, the old line only gave up 2 sacks. You know, not bad. And in the run game though, that this thing was non-existent in this whole tournament. I don't. That's one thing that really grinds my gears with Andy Reid is he refuses to run the ball sometimes.
And that's the thing though, is I'm happy with the committee that we have, but the problem is the committee we have, these guys are too similar. And it's not like, for instance, I'm just using this as a example. When you have Montgomery and Robinson in Detroit, you kind of have a Jekyll and Hyde. You have different skill sets. You have different styles. Kareem and Isaiah are essentially, I'm not going to say the same running back, but they are more similar than they are separate. But now, really quickly, I did want to add this in. So with that touchdown that you alluded to with Kelsey, that touchdown pass, Patrick Mahomes has passed Dan Marino for most regular season touchdown passes before the age of 30 with 246.
Let's go. Let's go.
We're, that's one thing I like to see is still, especially with Travis, and most likely this being his last season as for what we all think, as long as these records continue to either be broken or extended, I'm fine with it. We just got to translate some L's into W's. I know it's week 1 and we need to pump brakes a little bit, but definitely see a lot of room for improvement. I definitely see a lot of things that can be cleaned up. Let's just say, for argument's sake, right now you have Hollywood and Juju, and I think you'll probably get Royals back. And Tyquan Thornton, I'll say this: he's got it. Yeah, he's kind of. But I'll say this: he reminds me a lot of how I used to think of Willie Gay Jr. He's got a lot of superpowers. You just don't know how to use them yet. So fair enough. I think
I like him. I like him. I really do.
I like him too. After watching him a few times last night, the one he overthrew in the end zone to him, I can see why you like him, and I can see his presence. He's just lacking a little bit of vision.
Yeah, some of it too, though, is even though they were firing on pretty much all cylinders in training camp. I mean, that's 7-on-7 drills. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're not looking at a full team. We're not even looking at contact. We're not even looking at pads that day. We're not, you know what I mean? So they were literally just one step off. You know, give them a couple weeks, man. I'm telling you, that combo right there, guys. I've been calling it all out. And Jaw from NMP, he said it yesterday. He was like, man, JB, you've been saying this name all through training camp, all preseason. I said, yeah, bro, you watch out, man. I watched him, dude, and I was like, dude, who? I tapped this guy next to me. Who is that, man? And they explained it to me, and I'm telling you.
It sounds like to me, if he can get things going, especially with Rice being gone, he's going to have a presence as long and if there are any looming injuries, he's going to have a presence as long as he can stay healthy. It kind of reminds me back in the oh gosh, what was his name? When they had to bring in DeAnthony Thomas.
Yeah. Well,
we had to bring him in on offense and more or less than special teams, because on offense we were having the injury bug like we always do. So I don't know what it is with our wide receivers, man. They just it regardless of if it's friendly fire, if it's something, man, these injuries happen. I don't know if it's just because these guys are moving so fast that speed kills, but it is what it is. Now, I will say this, as far as the defense is concerned, I mean, it wasn't one clear-cut issue. It was more or less of
Oh
I
man.
see a few things to clean up here, and more or less, and I boil it down to discipline.
Yeah.
I boil it down to communication. Those two things, if you can be disciplined and have communication, I think that defense will take care of itself.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's exactly my thoughts, because if you go back and look that whole ordeal with Chris Jones and Tranquil at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, I believe it was the fourth quarter,
yeah.
and um, Tranquil was lined up in the back, I mean, like a spy, and Jones went to the end, and I believe he was out in four tech, I believe. Um, but they baited him,
Oh
and he
yeah.
went to the inside and took where Tranquil was supposed to be, and totally put himself and Tranquil out of position. And that's when Herbert took off and ran around the side and did that little pose when he slid. Man, I wish somebody would have rocked his fitted on that one. If he had been man, I can't
Yeah.
wait till this rematch. I'm telling you, man, I can't wait till this rematch, because you know like a lot of other people saying, man. I mean, I'll tell you this, man. Weeks 1 through 3, 4, I really don't pay, like, I pay attention to, but I don't pay no mind to it, because they're still working out the kinks. So like this dub and this L,
Mhm.
even though I picked my team, I
Yeah.
I don't see that travel as a good travel for the Chiefs.
It wasn't a good travel for either team, regardless of the outcome
No.
and who won. And I'm going to keep it like that. Like, hey, Justin Herbert played himself a game, over 300 yards and three tutties. The
Yeah.
only, I mean, that he's one of only three Chargers quarterbacks to do that on an opening day. It was Dan Faust and Philip Rivers. So so he put himself in pretty decent category. I admire Herbert. I think that team played exceptionally well in all four quarters. We lacked the first two and a half.
Oh
So
man, I think we lacked more than that. I think
I
we didn't
I
really,
I
as
yeah,
the game went on, we started to rock. We're rocking. What do you call it off? Rust off.
yeah.
Um,
And I will say this, what really, I guess I want to say the ultimate momentum boost that we had was that fire drill field goal, man.
that was
I've
amazing. And I pointed it
I
out,
was
dude, during live last night. Um,
yeah.
that type of stuff right there. Okay. Um, the night before in the other game, the Dallas and Philly game,
Mhm.
they were talking about how Tony Judge was talking about how Dennis Green used to run them through specific drills, like situations, right? So
Yeah.
oh well, the situation is we're gonna go out to practice, we're gonna warm up, we're gonna practice for an hour, half hour, whatever, and then I'm gonna call and say, hey, rain delay, go to the locker room. And I'm gonna sit you
Yeah.
there for an hour. He said, and then he turned around, he sends back out there, and we put the guys back to work for hour and a half, and turn back around, and he'd be like, rain delay, sit you right back down for another hour, make you cool down. He said he would do that a couple times a week, a couple games. And he said, man, he got you prepped. He said, so you look at that, look at what the Chiefs did, how fast and articulate that they were with it. They knew what they were
Mhm.
doing, they were prepped for it. The coaching staff does those
Mhm.
things in practice for situational stuff, and they worked it
And
to a T. Granted, now
and
I'm a little upset that right after that, and can't hit a extra pointer.
yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, so we can do I always say we can do a Chinese fire drill, but we can't do a PAT. Make
Yeah,
that make sense, please. So
yeah,
I was sitting there and I was just flabbergasted at it because I was watching the game at the house and then the other ear I was in Jake Silva's live listening to his Chargers talk and everything else. So I was actually watching it in there, and I just went in there. I was like, dude, make that make sense, please,
right.
because you got to look at it this way. The fact that Dave Tobe has his special teams just fine, it's a fine tooth comb. There is zero. I never see an issue with how Dave Tobe runs his special teams, and he's been one of the greatest special teams coordinators to ever play this game. I mean,
Yeah.
He's got all the rings with us, but I mean, he got famous by having Devin Hester in Chicago. So
Yep. He
he's
knows what
got
he's
some.
doing. He
Yes,
knows
he's
what
a
he's doing.
genius. And I tell you, and I said it to you earlier this morning when we were doing our pre-show prep. I will tell you this: when you fool a camera crew for an NFL game, you are
Yep.
doing your job correctly.
Yep.
I think I counted 3 camera changes within that time because they didn't know what was going on.
Right. And they usually do.
And I'll say this:
That's the eye
I
in the
think
sky. They don't lie.
they caught the Chargers off guard too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you've seen
they-
it. Wasn't it, was it Tunyon or was it Gray that literally got up and ran the ball?
I
Took
think
off
it was
running,
Gray, but
put that ball down, was like, yo, here you go, handed it to him. Like, he rushed out there. They knew. Like, they told the reps before, hey, look, we're running back out there. We're kicking a field goal.
And that's where I think also that's where it started in the play call before when they were in their last huddle said, hey, we get down here, you're probably going to look for the signal. If it is, to run. And I'm telling you that both sides switched. It was a pirouette of perfection. You cannot make that play alone right there.
It
It
was
was, you cannot make that more perfect than it was.
See, now
So
I do want to go chime in though on a little bit of Chargers though, because I mean it has to go with our secondary as well. Quentin Johnson, that's going to be a name to remember. You've seen him in I know you've seen him in training camp. The guy couldn't catch, but he had 2 touchdowns, dude, 79 yards, and that was just a straight up statement game for him. Keenan Allen looked like he had never left the Chargers. Allen 7 catches, bro, for 68 yards and a score, dude. Like, that right there wasn't just a win, dude. It was a message. Like, the AFC is not just a one-team show anymore.
No, I mean, I can harp on and say as long as, where we're at until the playoffs, everything still runs through one Arrowhead Drive, and I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, no,
but
I agree.
At the same time, regardless if it's week 1 or week 3 of the preseason or week 17 of the regular season, I know this conference in the AFC, and let alone our division in the AFC West, they're coming to play this year. Yeah. It's not going to be easy.
Absolutely.
So these guys got to clean this stuff up.
Absolutely.
Or it's going to be a very long year for us.
Absolutely. And I'm I don't know, man. They really need to find, a way to bounce back going into week 2 against Philly. Because that is another thing. Like, you can't have and I honestly, and I said this in a live last night, I don't necessarily think, like, okay, I think you can agree with me as well that Andy Reid, when there's also another game, like a meaningful game, right? And I'm not saying that this game was not meaningful. Okay, I think that the Chargers wanted it a little bit more. Right, this was more of their day, right? But I also think that Andy Reid kind of was holding some things back, right? As well as for future games. It's early in the season, I mean, our first teamers have not all had that continuity of playing together this whole preseason for real. I mean, we had like a 1 play, 1 yard, one touchdown, 1 drive, right? Out. Starters done. Go to the second game, hardly played. You go to the third game, they played a little bit more, like a drive and a half or something like that. So they're starting slow. Sometimes they do. I know a couple years ago, we won that tear, undefeated early on, but things are different in Kansas City. I mean, one thing I did see, and I know you've seen this, man, Chris Jones. He's looking out of shape. He's looking old.
You know what? I'd rather be him out of shape and winded in week 1.
Oh yeah,
I can afford that. Now, I will say this: does it technically, in my opinion, this puts us a little bit of 0-2, just because not only do you lose a road division game, you still just lost a game. Right. So that puts us back behind in the division. I realize that we got 18 weeks, so there's a lot of time there, but still not any type of hole or a divot that I would like to get myself out of. I will say this, as far as the offensive line goes, and I'm going to try and relay some decorum here and try and be nice about it, because Jawaan Taylor's a walking OSHA violation. I've said it time and time again. I can't. Watching that man just gives me high blood pressure.
Yeah. And you know that he has a really bad knee problem, that when he sits on an airplane too long, that he has to go get it drained before the game.
Jesus. And
so that costs him and puts him in a predicament.
Yeah.
As well. Like what was it? The Seattle game or Arizona game? Yeah. I think it was Seattle. He didn't even go because of his knee. He was like, dude, I'm not even gonna play. I'm gonna play like one drive. I don't need to. I'm not going to the doctors to have my knee drained just to sit on a plane.
And that's a 12-hour flight down there, and however they had to do it, because I know they got there Wednesday, and they 2 days before the game, but still that's prep time that is hard. But
right.
The problem is now
he didn't even get to probably even roll through practice because he had to get his knee drained while after he was traveling. So 12-hour flight, 2 hours to travel, 2 hours to go to the field, from airport to field, from hotel to field, and then he's got to go get medical attention. Like, I'm just saying, I'm not making no excuses for the man. I'm just saying I didn't realize that he had that bad of a knee problem.
That's the thing though. He's getting up there, and he has to move a certain way or it's not going to work out. And I think if it doesn't get corrected, I can honestly see, because that's 4 penalties he caused last night. In the first half alone, I'm not saying they were all in the first half, but total in the first half, we had 9 penalties. That can't happen. So I do know at least 2 of them were in the first quarter. I do remember that. I know, so I think there were at least 1 in the third, but I can't remember. I'll need to get the breakdown. But I just look at it this way. My biggest issue right now is right tackle and Jawaan Taylor on the offensive line. I feel everyone else did their job, did their part. There was nothing crazy. I think Simmons had 1 hold, which, in my opinion, for your NFL debut going against Khalil Mack, not a bad gig.
He had a false start as well.
All right, so 1 hold and 1 false start. I will give you that as a rookie. That's not that bad.
Yeah, no.
You and I have both seen worse rookie debuts.
Dude, here's the deal. We ain't really seen a good left tackle in Kansas City since Eric Fisher.
Fair.
And I'm just saying he was a staple of that line for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Literally until he got hurt. We started going on a Super Bowl run, and dude gets hurt, and now we've been looking for that next left tackle since.
Yeah, I just think, as much as I want to download this more, we just got to pump brakes. Be excited that football is back.
Absolutely, I am. I'm not taking this bad or anything like that. You know what I mean? I know, what's up. I know that they're going to get it together. I know that it's going to come together and everything's going to be all right. They just got to, the real season starts week 7. Okay.
Yeah. You just got to be able to pull off those small victories between weeks 1 and 6, because
we got to get to week 7. But the thing is also is what do you think about Pacheco? Because to me, Pacheco did not seem like he was what he is or what he was. I know there was one thing they showed him on the sideline, kind of looking down at his leg, and
it's bumps and bruises. That's the thing though. This is bumps and bruises, and that's one thing we harped on when we were doing one of the episodes in the preseason and training camp recaps. This team is one of the few teams that hit in training camp that still hits regularly, to where you see a lot of guys on the injury report, and it's little stuff like this, little stuff like that, and it's always a continuous carousel of injuries. I guess the only question mark is how fast do these guys respond back from it? Because it's not only just because of, oh, it's the next football week. You got your Super Bowl champs coming into Kansas City. It's not going to be a picnic game, regardless if Jalen Carter is on the field or not. You still have Pacheco's going to have to be ready and bounce back. Kareem's going to have to be ready and bounce back, because we both know Kareem Hunt was a home run hitter his rookie season and before he was released previously by us. But you need Pacheco to get that confidence back, because his rookie season, he was a dog.
Yeah.
I said it I said it, and our buddy Coach Common agreed with me. When he's 100%, he's running like a pissed off toddler. I'm not saying he's lost a step, but I'm just saying we can tell something ain't right, or if this is the normal Pacheco, then they need to work with Brashard Smith a little bit more. I know why they're not bringing him in as of yet, and it's just because of his pass blocking. It's not up to their par, and they're not going to put a running back on the field if he can't pass block.
Right. So, they're not going to hurt him with, they're going to hinder his growth.
Because I'll tell you what, Brashard Smith has got some speed, but I'm not willing to take the risk.
No, me neither. Yeah, next week though, we got Philly at home. Some consider it a Super Bowl rematch. I don't. It's not a Super Bowl. We're not in. It's a regular season.
Yes.
I honestly, is it a game that is going to be meaningful? More to some, they'll be more meaningful. But it's no time to sulk though on that. You know what I mean? They need to fire, and they need to focus. I know I seen a thing with Allen Robinson had commented to the Chiefs that, hey, I'm a free agent, come get me. So I can help you. And that would be, that's we're all, he knows we are only waiting a couple weeks, and everybody knows that Chiefs wide receiver rooms through the last few years, ever since Tyreek has left, has been a little sus. But that's not saying we can't do it without Tyreek. We don't absolutely need Tyreek or somebody to that level, because of where our quarterback can raise other players to, But somebody in that wide receiver room needs to step up, and I know next week the Chargers get the Raiders under the lights. And if Herbert keeps cooking like that, LA might finally be ready to flip the script.
I said it all off season, man. It's the first season I've seen where LA wasn't the paper champs, and it scared me. And because usually I'm just like, oh, okay, cool, paper champs, they're gonna fold. I gotta say, a second year Jim Harbaugh led team is a scary Jim Harbaugh led team. I cannot say that enough. I cannot repeat that enough ad nauseum, because everywhere he's gone, Michigan included, that second year really develops an identity and really puts a team together.
Yeah.
Regardless of outcome, that's the pivotal year, is how that culture responds to the second season of Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Because in San Francisco, second year, NFC title appearance.
Yep.
I think that was actually a Super Bowl appearance in the Harbaugh Bowl, if I remember correctly. If I could be off on the year, but I think that was the second year was the year John and Jim coached each other in the Super Bowl. So all I'm saying is that because that was 2011, and that was the first year of Cap, because I think Harbaugh showed up in 10. So
yep, something like that.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued to see how they do now that Herbert's got both an offense and a defense. I tell you, I think this Chiefs Chargers rivalry could be reignited like it was in our heyday.
Oh, I think it just was. I think it just was, absolutely.
Yeah, the only thing I wish is I just wish it wasn't in Brazil. But hey, at least it was a good product. There were no issues with the TV. There were the only issues that were
It was cool that
present.
they did it on YouTube like that. It was pretty interesting of how they did it. They had YouTube, like influencers or whatever, streamers up there broadcasting as well. On top, so you could have watched it multiple different ways. It was pretty interesting how they're gonna try to do it.
Yeah, and like I said, the only issues present that I saw was my secondary giving up passes to Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston. But hey, we'll move on. We can we'll digress and kind of collect our thoughts and get ready for next week in Philly.
Yep.
So I just want to say thank you for being here, buddy. Also, make sure and check out all your non-move social medias, your TikTok, your Facebook, your Instagram, X formerly known as Twitter, your Kicks, your Twitches, we also are on streaming platforms as well. So you'll be seeing this or hearing this on Spotify, Amazon Music,
Spotify and all the
Apple
major
Music.
ones.
Yeah. So we'll be able to get you covering. We're trying to cover all ends. Please send us an email, notmovepodcast25@gmail.com for your feedback. We are open to feedback to help with our shows to make it better for you, the listeners. JB, I hope you have yourself a great rest of your weekend. We'll be seeing you soon for a Eagles preview.
Yes, sir. Not moved out.
Not moved.